If you're a B2B marketing leader, you're probably thinking about engagement as an important metric. But the reality is, considering the amount of content being created today, engagement isn't the most critical part of your content. It's authority. Because when buyers don't trust the messenger, sales works harder trying to convince prospects, sales cycles get longer, and your content becomes expensive noise. Noise that isn't much different from your competition. At the same time, the teams who win aren't necessarily louder, they're clearer. Their authority compounds, their expertise is obvious, and their sales teams sound sharper. I'm about to show you a framework that guides your content towards solid authority, so your brand expertise shines through, it builds trust, strengthens sales credibility, and compounds over time. Learn this so your content doesn't get lost in the noise of competition. The framework I'm going to show you now is called the voice framework. Before I walk you through the framework, though, you need to understand the larger operating model it belongs to. Because if you isolate voice framework as just messaging, you'll miss the real power. It works best when it's part of a system designed to make content cumulative instead of episodic. In other words, your content should stack up over time and not be one and done. And once you see the full system, the framework I'm going to show you will make complete sense. Because you're making content for business and revenue is the goal, it's important to know that authority compounds best when it operates inside a strategy. Now, the larger model is called RevCo. RevCo stands for Revenue Content Operations. It's Content Monster's operating strategy for building, operating, and scaling content as a revenue supporting system through cumulative impact. That's because most marketing teams create content in cycles. They get the green light to create, they fuel output, and then that output gets tucked away to gather dust. But RevCo builds content as an infrastructure. Instead of campaigns that reset, it creates assets that stack. Instead of just asset output, it builds operational leverage. So RevCo is the operating model that makes content compound into revenue support, and voice is one of its components. All right, now let me show you the voice framework because it defines who should carry your message, how credibility is established, and how authority becomes usable for sales. This is the voice framework. Voice operationalizes credibility inside the RevCo system. And here's how it goes. The V in voice is for Viewpoint, a clear perspective grounded in real experience and observed patterns. These are experiences and observations your writers and your marketing team members just don't have. Not summaries or abstracts, not safe consensus. We're talking about a defensible position built from execution, from someone who's actually done the thing. A viewpoint should come in natural language and show the experienced person's regularly observed patterns, because buyers trust experts with clear patterns and natural spoken stories more than polished language. Viewpoints turn experience into a differentiated market position. Next up is ownership, the O in voice. A real person stands behind the message and is accountable to it. In B2B or business to business, buyers trust people with experience and judgment. So when a company leader or expert clearly communicates their stance and how they stand behind it, that's powerful. And content consumers love it. If for no other reason, because AI cannot own an experience the way a real person can. Ownership eliminates anonymous, committee-driven content and replaces it with visible expertise. So ownership makes authority believable because someone stands behind it. The I in the voice framework is insight. Teach buyers something based on real-world outcomes. Insight comes from execution, not aggregation. It's from having done something enough to see between the lines and explain what was observed in that process. It reduces buyer uncertainty, and reduced uncertainty accelerates decisions. All in all, insight builds buyer confidence because it reflects lived results. The next letter in the voice framework is C for cadence. Authority compounds through consistency. So your thought leaders or the marketing team gathering voice needs to plan to create a consistent flow of content, specifically from the people chosen here. This part helps you move from campaigns to strategy. So plan for continuation. Don't settle for short-term wins. Get perspectives from across your organization, and if possible, multiple from select thought leaders, because one strong perspective asset doesn't build trust, but repeated exposure to experienced perspectives does. Cadence ensures that authority grows instead of disappearing between campaigns. And finally, the E is for enablement. Create assets that support real conversations, not just visibility, not just impressions, likes, or follows. Enablement means that you capture and craft content from your experts with the purpose of using this as a tool during the sales process. It addresses objections at the right time and guides decisions as your prospective customer does their research. Enablement ensures sales can use your authority in live revenue situations and follow-ups. Enablement connects credibility directly to revenue outcomes and also connects your content activity to revenue activity. So that's voice. Voice defines who should carry the message. The elements of the voice framework are viewpoint, ownership, insight, cadence, and enablement. In B2B, buyers trust people with experience and judgment, and voice gives a standard for credibility and consistency, not just brand-safe noise. Now, if we zoom back out to the RevCo model, which is the operating model that ensures your content connects to revenue, voice is the component that ensures that content is credible, differentiated, and trusted. Without voice, RevCo lacks authority. Together, they transform content from just marketing activity into cumulative competitive advantage. Voice is just one of the 4 components of RevCo, so check out these other videos to learn about both the revenue content operations model and the other components of this model, which are Source, Trace, and Ready. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to continuously improve your marketing skills. See you on the next one.